So this video is presuming that you're starting from a point of having already drawn this plot out. So you're going to make sure that you already have things like your center line drawn in, all the lighting positions that are in the catwalk and over the stage and in the corner. The fly system should be there, the plate border, the title block, but of course on yours it's going to be along the side. One of the first things I'm going to show you is how to draw the legend out. So if you start by taking your template, you want to make sure that you find the instrument that you need. And you can see right here is the source 4, which is what we have mostly on that first catwalk. And if you can't find exactly what you need or you're too impatient, you can just call, like this thing over here, I'm going to call that the Altman ellipsoidal, which is what I think we have on the first catwalk. So I'm going to lay this out. And I want to try to make sure everything is as in a straight, neat of a line as I can. And then I'm going to trace out the outline of each instrument that I'm going to be using in my plot. And just for this video, I'm going to do the source 4, I'm going to do the Altman ellipsoidal, and then I'm going to do a Fresnel. And I know we use some other things in our plot for the dance recital. And one thing that this template does not have, because they're so freaking old, are the strip lights. So that's fun. You guys we're gonna just need to make something up for that. So here I'm gonna draw the Fresnel, and now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna label them. This is a good place to remember that when you are doing drafting, you have no lowercase letters. It's all block lettering, and you can see I'm doing this kind of fast, so it's not my best work, but I'm trying to fill in, or at least use those squares to guide how I shape my letters. The more you can just fill in the square, the better it's going to look. It's really fun watching me draft. So cool. Alright, now I got it too close to the edge. That's too messy. I don't like it, so I'm going to start over. You can see sometimes erasing is difficult to erase all the way when you're drafting, but it's important to try to get that as close as you can, because pretty quickly it'll get messy. So I'm going to make another go at it, and hopefully this time it won't look quite so jacked up in the corner. A little better. Alright, so I'm going to put my Fresnel label on. Then I'm going to move on. So all I expect you to do is put whatever instruments you use in your show for the talent show or in your music project onto the instrument key. You don't have to put anything in there that you're not actually using. So for, again, the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use these 3. And because the symbol for the source 4 and what I'm using for the Altman are very similar, I'm going to use an X for any Altmans that I use on my plot. Although I won't actually put any Altmans down for the video. Alright, so next I just am going to include an instrument symbol, and I'm going to use the source 4. And I'm going to basically break down all the different types of notation that the shop might see on my plot. And this is everything they'll need to know to understand each lighting instrument's information. So you can see I've put the instrument, and then in the circle you can see I have included the circuit, and down below is the dimmer shape. So at the very top you're going to include the focus area, and in this case I'm just saying it's area A, and then below that you're going to put your gel color. And I'm using Roscoe 60. It's a nice low saturation, cool color. this 1/4 inch template is very small, and I'm trying to draw Arrowhead's leader lines over to the things that I'm using to notate, and it's going to get jumbled up really quickly. So I don't know. You may want to spread this out over to the side a little more than what I'm doing. Okay, so next up, you can see you can put a little dot in there to indicate if you used a gobo. So like I know Jayla did, so you might want to have that in there. Oh, look, I used a lowercase letter, so I erased it. I'm going to start over, and I did it again because I'm stupid. Let's try this one more time. Maybe I can actually draw a correct letter. There we go. Good boy. So below that, you're going to indicate the instrument number. You can actually, under the instrument number, now there's not enough room on this, you can put the wattage of the lamp that your instrument is using. So, if you have a 750 watt lamp, you would put 750 on there, and that would let your master electrician know, just by looking at your plot, what they'd need to replace a lamp if it blew. Alright, and then finally, you note the circuit and the dimmer. But this gives your master electrician a key to all the information that you're using. And since we've basically only been using one-to-one patching in our theater, 1 is 1. So this is what it kind of looks like. A normal plot would have more information than that. Alright, so this is where we pull out our scale rule again. It's been a while since we've looked at this old friend, but we're going to use the 1/4 inch scale because that's what this plot is drawn in. You have to use it to actually measure out on the plot where your lighting areas go. Now, we sort of did this just in the space in real time, but properly you should start on your plot because the idea is you'd actually be marking off and dividing up the area of the stage around a set. So I've measured 4 feet back, and now I'm measuring 8 feet across from that central 4-foot mark back. And once I get my 8 feet to the side, I'm going to measure back 8 feet again. Sorry, nope, I'm dumb. That's 4 feet. Math is hard. Come over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing, and then I'm going to drop the camera. Cool. So I'm going to measure back 4 feet again. That's going to give me my first 3 areas. And I'm making a mark here, but I'm going to come back, and ultimately I'm going to erase these and create, put little dots there. Lord have mercy. Look at this. Yeah. We'll get there. So I'm trying to clean it up just a little bit so it doesn't look like total garbage. Isn't this exciting? I mean, they talk about watching paint dry as being boring, but this right here makes that sound pretty rockin'. Alright, so I'm a little bit bigger than what I was doing when I was labeling my instrument, but I'm putting down my first 3 areas. Now that I've got this in place, I want to get my next row. So I'm going to measure over 8 feet. Okay, well I jumped that cut in a pretty clumsy way. Alright, so I just decided I'm going to start by marking in between. So I've got half the distance, and I dropped the camera again. God dang it. So I'm measuring in between my areas down below, and then I'm going to measure back another 8 feet from those marks that are 4 feet up. And as you recall, I believe it was about 12 feet from the front edge of the stage, but that's going to give me my next row. So you want the lighting areas to sort of alternate so that they kind of overlap as you go. So cool. So there you go. And I'm not going to go beyond this row for the video, but really you need to put as many lighting areas as are needed for your show. So if you did a stand-up, well, we had no stand-up routines in the talent show ultimately, or you have a musician who's staying in one place, you might be able to get away with one or two areas. But if you like did the dancers, you obviously are going to have more of a full stage thing going on here. So I'm marking off my next row, and then I'm going to assign them a letter. So we start with D. We're moving stage right to stage left. So you'll have D, E, F, and G. So cool. It's nice to look at my arm. Oh my god. Oh look, I'm pulling back so you can see everything. So I've gone up pretty much to the plaster line, but I would keep going again, and I would keep going in between and just working back until I was where I want to be. So now I want to place my instruments, and I'm only going to do letter A for this because I'm just wanting to show you. Now, I'm like a big old nerd here, and I've pulled out a compass, and I've put it over A, and I'm going to get a rough indication here. That's 45 degrees, and my camera's going away. So roughly somewhere over here in between 18 and 19 will be my first placement. And then on the other side, I don't know what the heck's going on here. I'm just drifting. Somewhere around 32. All right. So I got to clean that up here. Had a little pencil marker in it. I'm going to take my template, and I'm going to lay down my instrument. Now, some people prefer that their instruments or the cymbals are arranged straight forward, and some angle them towards the lighting area. I like to angle it towards the lighting area if I have room, because I frankly think that's cooler looking. But I'll go ahead and put in my circuit and dimmer notation. So once I get that, now you can notice I have a couple of lines running through because this plot is inked and I'm drawing over it. So I'm going to come back through with some whiteout, so that cleans it up just a little bit. Oh yeah, so good. That way it should be a little easier to read. You wouldn't do this. You would start with a rough, and then you trace it over and make sure everything is neat. That would be the better way to do it. So I'm going to come over to the other side and put my other symbol down. So after I put my channel and circuit notation in, I'm going to just turn around and do the same thing and clean up the lines running through my symbols. And well, but I didn't make you watch it this time. That's kinder. Oh look, looks like I messed it up a little bit. So now what I want to do, using what I put over there in my my instrument notation, I'm going to indicate here that this is going to be focused on area A, and I'm using Roscoe 60 because I like it. And then it's being plugged into 18 because as you can see, the pigtail for 18 is right there. So we're just going to make it go right in where it's planted. We'll keep it simple here. And then we'll just say this is instrument number 1 because it is first on the pipe. Typically, you're not going to go and number your instruments until you're done. That way you know that you're numbering them correctly and you're going left or right. Now I'm going through here and I am labeling the catwalks. So this is the first catwalk, the one closer to the stage. Commonly I call it the second catwalk. And then as we move up onto the stage, you can see, well, this is dumb. Okay. I start to label it on the stage, which is wrong because we actually have over on the other side of the stage the fly system area, which is where you are supposed to note things like that. Bad toning once again. Then my pencil broke, So we sharpened it and erased the whole thing. So I'm going to note the first electric pencil broke again. That's cool. Second. And finally, this is where our strip lights live, the third electric. But basically, you're going to go through and put all of the instruments onto your plot, making sure that you have adequate coverage for your washes, and you want to make sure that when you have specials or you have things that you want to, you have to indicate that on the paperwork. So if a light came up on a certain area, you have to represent that on the plot. So basically, you're just going to rinse and repeat until you have all of your areas covered. All of the places where the light needs to be happening, you have to point an instrument at it. So get at it, and if you have any questions, be sure to let me know.